Going on, everyone? John Matrix here. So we've got another exploring the SCP Foundation video here. This one is on the Church of the Broken God. So I'm the last video we did going over kind of the basics kind of really piqued my interest on the universe. So I'm looking forward to getting into and hearing what the stories and tales of it are about. And I like just in general the idea of this kind of being like a community focused thing. Potentially someone who could be an aspiring author might want to, you know, write some short stories and they might get approved, and it could be something that could, you know, who knows, push someone forward. They could use it as a way to say, hey, you know, I've done this and that and the community enjoyed this and I got a following that way. And I just like the idea of it just being kind of, you know, community driven. And in general, I'm just really into sci-fi stuff, so I'm curious to see where a lot of these stories are going to go. So we're going to check out Church of the Broken God here today. As always, links will be down below in the description to the original video and channel of the creator of this. And as you can see, we are doing this video live here, doing this as a live reaction for my YouTube members. So if you want to join in to the live reactions and discussions as I'm doing these, feel free to click the join button down below and check out the YouTube members benefit tiers and see if any of that would have any interest of you. But for now, we're going to get into this. The Church of the Broken God.
The SCP universe is filled with countless anomalous objects, creatures, and phenomena, and it's only logical that there would also exist religions based around these strange and inexplicable concepts. While most religions are focused on the idea of one or more deities and their role in the life and afterlife of humanity, the Church of the Broken God believes in a very different perspective. This video will provide a brief summary of the currently known information related to the Church, but due to the lack of canon within the SCP universe, much of this is subject to interpretation or change.
Okay. Interesting.
To put it simply, the Church of the Broken God believes that their deity, an entity known as Meccan, has been disassembled, shattered, or otherwise broken. Their goal, and the focus of their centuries of effort, is to reassemble Meccan using a number of anomalous technological objects. To explain what happened to Meccan and why they wish to rebuild him, we have to look back to their beliefs on the origin of life.
Kind of getting some, like, you know, some Magnus vibes here from 40K. You know, his essence was shattered into, you know, however many pieces that are scattered throughout the warp, and if he gets, you know, those essences and shards were to be put back together, he could be made whole again. So kind of getting a vibe of that here so far, but let's see what Meccan is about. Interesting.
In the beginning, there were two
big Mechanicus vibes with these guys. Yeah, I mean, who knows? Maybe that's what this could all be based off. Maybe this is like the origin story of how the Mechanicus actually came to be. Everything just goes back to 40K, man. Everything's just 40K.
Life. In the beginning, there were two gods. Meccan, the god of metal, machines, and intelligence, and Yaldabaoth, the goddess of flesh and animal instinct. It is said that Yaldabaoth is responsible for creating mankind, giving them their form and their instincts, but Meccan is responsible for giving us our intellect. In time, humanity progressed, creating continually greater technological marvels and becoming more and more civilized.
Literally the machine spirit.
Meccan, but greatly upset Yaldabaoth, as humanity was discarding their basic animal instincts. Yaldabaoth turned on humanity, wishing to turn them back into the wild animal she had first created, but Meccan stepped in to stop her. Knowing that a continual battle between two gods would have dire consequences, Meccan instead sacrificed himself, shattering his own body in order to use it as a great cage.
Good guy, Meccan.
Meccan's body encased Yaldabaoth, silencing both deities.
So wouldn't that then mean that if, I mean, obviously we haven't finished hearing the lore about this, so I'm just speculating on what they've said so far, but if he used his, you know, physical body to contain Yaldabaoth, would that then not mean that if they found all the pieces of him, would she not be free and then this battle would continue again? You know what I mean? But maybe she already broke out and they're just looking for the pieces of him so that they can bring them back together and bring some kind of balance back to the universe. I guess we'll find out.
Pieces of Mechan's body scattered across Earth, and fragments of Yaldabaoth began to trickle out of the cage. The followers of Mechan began spreading their religion and set out to gather what pieces of Mechan that they could find.
So I would assume if there is a following of Mechan, there would also be a following of Yaldabaoth, and that those sides would go against each other. And I would assume that there's some of this influence that's going on through SCP as well, and the various anomalies and factions that are going after these anomalies.
Mechan began spreading their religion and set out to gather what pieces of Mechan that they could find. They had two primary goals. One was to reform Mechan, the broken god, and two was to oppose the followers of Yaldabaoth, known as Sarkics.
Sarkics, interesting.
Sarkics deserve their own video to cover their history, which is even more muddled than the Church of the Broken God. But notably, they believe in the alteration of their human forms to achieve godhood, and they practice human sacrifice, ritual cannibalism, and the worshipping of disease.
Nice, so very Nurgle.
The distinctions between the two cults are obvious, with the Mechanites believing they need to cast off their human nature with technology to achieve perfection, and Sarkics believing the opposite, that humanity and the Earth need to embrace their basic human nature, eschewing objective morality.
All I'm hearing in my mind, all I see in my mind is that meme of the snake in the tube with the little feet and the Mechanicus quote going on. When I saw the weakness of my flesh, it disgusted me. You know, that's all I hear in my brain right now as he's talking.
Need to embrace their basic human nature, eschewing objective morality. It's believed that Sarkics wish to prepare the planet for the inevitable return of Yaldabaoth, and they primarily hope to achieve this using SCP-610, known as the Red Death, or the Flesh That Hates.
The Flesh That Hates.
SCP-610 is a...
The Flesh That Hates. That's a pretty dope name, and that I could see that being like the name of a demon of Nurgle. If this is supposed to be some kind of like great disease, so interesting. Again, a lot of the stuff just seems very 40K-ish. Everything just ties back to it.
Red Death, or the Flesh That Hates. SCP-610 is a highly contagious disease that rapidly transforms and takes over its host, forcing the host to spread the disease as much as possible. 610 will infect any living organism nearby, and also will continue to spread fleshy growths in order to create an area hospitable for continued infection. Left unchecked, 610 would easily spread across the planet, but the SCP Foundation, the Church of the Broken God, and other organizations have managed to keep it contained so far. Before the Foundation, however, it was left to just the followers of Mechan to oppose the Sarkics, and this opposition most notably culminated in the War of the Flesh in the late Bronze Age, and centered around the regions of Greece. The Sarkics fought by transforming themselves into abominable monsters, and with tremendous flesh beasts, as well as spreading disease and infection across the land, primarily the Red Death.
So I would assume also that could be responsible for maybe the Black Plague or whatever, you know. Can't remember what the actual name of the disease is now. I want to say Ebola, but I know that's not what it is. It's something completely different. But, you know, the disease that was spread by rats and fleas that killed everyone, you know, in kind of the medieval times.
The Mechanites fought by augmenting their bodies with metal and technology, and crafted weapons capable of widespread destruction. They also made great walking titans.
That'd also kind of tie into the Greek, you know, mythology of Daedalus and whatnot. Daedalus would be a Mechan, learn his technology and stuff from them. So I mean, a lot of this is kind of tying them up. Can't wait for you to get to the 610 video. Gotcha.
Of widespread destruction. They also made great walking titans, piloted by 6 individuals.
Also going to Colossus.
Capable of launching fire, or even warping reality nearby.
So they had Megazords.
One of these
Power Rangers
is currently contained by the Foundation in disrepair,
Damn.
designated SCP-2406.
Again, straight up 40K Titans, like Jesus.
and shows signs of damage from some sort of anomalous organism. The war between the two groups raged on for some time, although most details have been lost, but both sides suffered massive losses throughout the war. Finally, the Mechanites managed to storm the final Sarkic stronghold in the Aegean, a massive organism that they used as a temple. Knowing their defeat was imminent, the priest residing there summoned the Red Death, and also performed a rite that would preserve the large organism so that it could be resurrected later. This organism is also contained by the Foundation, designated SCP-2095. With the Mechanites allied with the various Greek city-states, the war continued, but both sides soon became unable to sustain their efforts, and eventually both the Sarkics and Mechanites faded out of public view, and the world moved on.
Interesting.
The continued history of the Sarkics past this point is largely meant for another video, but the followers of Meccan would eventually fade away, with the remnants forming into the organization we now know as the Church of the Broken God. The current Church of the Broken God is splintered into three main factions, which supposedly share a strong animosity for one another. The principal faction, known officially as the Broken Church, is led by an individual known as Robert Bumaro, and largely follow the same tenets of their forefathers.
I like these kind of, old, like 1800s kind of style, or early 1900s kind of style, black and white pictures, grainy pictures or whatever. I don't know, it just gives it kind of this more authentic feel to it.
The Cogwork Orthodox Church adhere to a technological style in line with the Industrial Revolution, transforming their bodies using cogs, gears, and steam-powered machines.
Very steampunk church.
They believe in remaking themselves in the image of Meccan, and utilize mechanical mass production as a form of prayer. The Church of Maxwellism is on the other end of the spectrum, focused on modern computers, digital networks, and advanced cybernetics.
That's a cool, logo that they got going on here. And honestly, just looking at it kind of gives you the idea of, they're into circuitry and computers and things like that. More advanced technology.
They believe,
which would be surprising that some of the other churches, wouldn't necessarily, but I guess maybe it's kind of more of a traditionalism kind of thing. I don't know.
That humanity must be completely connected via a massive digital network, forming something akin to a hive mind.
So they created the internet.
Will of man.
So what he's saying is Al Gore is actually the founder of this church. That's what it is, because Al Gore made the internet.
Forming something akin to a hive mind, so that the combined will of mankind can restore their deity. There are currently a number of anomalous objects contained by the SCP Foundation that are believed to be parts of the Broken God, and likely a number that are not yet known to the Foundation. SCP-113.
So obviously I would assume that the members of the church probably would not like the fact that the SCP have those parts, and they would want them for themselves so they could either study it, worship it, or learn from it, and maybe even augment themselves further. So, but it is kind of interesting though that they've already kind of established that the Foundation and at least some factions of the Church of the Broken God, work together against the Sarkics and et cetera, et cetera. So it seems like there is some kind of uneasy alliance between them.
39, known as yet known to the Foundation. SCP-1139, known as the Broken Tongue or the Broken Voice, is a metallic block that causes people in a radius.
Church and the Foundation are frenemies who sometimes work together but definitely don't like each other. Yeah, it seems like they would have opposing views, but the overall idea is that they're both kind of working towards the betterment and or protection of mankind, so they might not necessarily like each other, but they're willing to work together with each other when needed.
Tongue, or the Broken Voice, is a metallic block that causes people in a radius around it to forget their known languages and instead comprehend a new shared language.
Interesting.
SCP-813, known as the Broken Eye, is a glass sphere that causes small slivers of glass to enter people's eyes. And
The
it's
fuck?
believed that the sphere uses these shards to see through people's eyes in order to find the other missing sphere.
The fuck?
SCP-217, said to be the Broken God's blood, or ichor, is a virus that can affect all animal life, including humans, and converts their bodies into a form of organic metal.
Interesting.
This converted material resembles metal, leather, rubber, glass, wood, etc., but is still organic material, carrying the subject's DNA. It is said that Robert Bumaro, head of the Broken Church, willingly infected himself with the virus and has been fully converted. Other SCPs are related to the Church of the Broken God, whether supposed parts of Meccan or otherwise, but one of the most notable is SCP-882. 882 is a massive assembly of random machine parts, such as gears, pulleys, screws, and so on, that are ordinarily in continual motion through unknown means.
Interesting.
It also seem to telepathically urge nearby individuals to bring metal to it so that it can grow larger. 882 is said to be the heart of the Broken God, but one of the proposals for SCP-001 describe an event that shine a new light onto this concept. The event described occurred in Mexico in 1942, in which a number of members of the Church of the Broken God managed to bring together multiple anomalous objects, causing them to form into a massive mechanical entity. This entity ravaged across the country, consuming...
That's a pretty sick looking picture. I like that. I would assume that this is like an actual picture that someone either took that was taken from that time period back in the day, or that they just kind of, you know, color graded into black and white, and then they've, you know, added this in, photoshopped this in or whatever. But that's tight. I like that. Hello, backwards.
Mechanical entity. This entity ravaged across the country, consuming everything in sight in order to grow larger, and seemed to be actively seeking out other anomalous objects. Another SCP, numbered 2399, appeared to destroy the mechanical entity, carving out the Gulf of California in the process.
The Gulf of California,
The Foundation cleaned up the mess, leaving the inactive core at the bottom of the ocean. The supposed heart of the Broken God, SCP-882, was taken into containment, but later interviews revealed that this heart was in fact manufactured by another organization, the Factory, and was not a part of Meccan. It seems that certain higher-ranking individuals in the church, primarily Robert Bumaro, who was not yet the leader, could not locate the heart of Meccan, and instead had one made so that they could forcefully rebuild their god. This corrupted heart, 882, caused the entity to go mad, and the whereabouts of Meccan's actual heart are unknown.
Interesting.
At least according to these documents. Finally, there is SCP-2217, which is a beach on an island in Greece, meant to function as a form of workshop for the Broken God that will assist his followers in fighting the Sarkics and SCP-610.
Just a beach, huh?
Death. This is revered as a holy site by the Church of the Broken God, known as the Anvil, and it's likely the place where Meccan would finally be properly reassembled to fight the Second War of the Flesh.
I wonder also, again, going into Greek mythology, if that would be like tying into Vulcan, aka Hephaestus, and his forge, if that's, you know, where that would be considered that from. That's interesting. Yeah, Hephaestus, exactly.
It's believed that a massive apocalyptic outbreak of SCP-610 will occur on December 31st, 2019, and the Foundation are currently working...
Bro, COVID? What? Did they predict COVID? Did SCP guys predict COVID? What the fuck?
Will occur on December 31st, 2019, and the Foundation are currently working with the Church, as well as the Horizon Initiative and the Global Occult Coalition in order to prevent or prepare for this event. So that's largely the current story as we know it, although there are documents that contradict certain elements of this video. And as the SCP universe has no canon, you're free to think what you want about the Church. If you do follow this canon, however, then you can see how the Church of the Broken God, originally presented as a mysterious enemy of the Foundation that wished to recreate a powerful entity for unknown purposes, is now working with the Foundation.
Interesting.
Well, it's completely up in the air exactly what will occur in the future in regards to this supposed war for the sake of the Earth. The mythology and conflicts between the Sarkics and the Church of the Broken God have certainly been one of the most interesting facets of the SCP universe.
All right. Interesting. Well, there we go. So that was, exploring the SCP Foundation, the Church of the Broken God. Very interesting story. A lot of it on the whole idea of essentially, metal and mechanics and technology versus Mother Nature. Essentially, it kind of sounds like Yarbalth or something like that. I forget the name of the other god, but that sounds kind of like that they were Mother Nature and or like the essence of Mother Nature, and so they created all animals and humans and gave them instincts, but the idea that then humans gained more and more intelligence and created more and more things, so that kind of like threw things out of balance and started the war between the gods, and a lot of tie-ins with ancient Greece and mythology. I could definitely see Daedalus being the great inventor, being one of the Mechanites with a lot of his inventions and things, and just a lot of Greek mythological stories also going on both sides of different like the Gorgons and all these mythological creatures could be part of the flesh god. And also honestly it sounds like it has a lot of could have some kind of like precursor tie-ins to the 40k. A lot of this religion sounds very Mechanicus, and a lot of the Z stuff sounds very Nurgle-ish, so who knows, maybe some 40k influences in this stuff, but very interesting stories. And I also kind of like the idea that they take it even further, and that the church isn't even just one church. There's splinter factions of the church that believe in different things. One's a very steampunk one is more of a advanced circuitry computeristic one, etc., and they sometimes work with the Foundation, they sometimes work against the Foundation, and just the whole idea of their religion, the holy site in Greece, that could be Hephaestus's, workshop anvil, or maybe even Daedalus's workshop. Very, very interesting story. Very well done. I like it. You forgot to tell me. What'd you forget to tell me? There's an SCP that is a reality where humanity has to go to the point of the Imperium of Man. There you go. There you go. Well, before the Age of Strife happens in 40k, our current history is the actual past in 40k. That we had, some advanced stuff, so he has a quote at the end of his videos. Oh, he does? Okay. Alright, we are broken, but united we are God. Okay, SCP-001, the Broken God. Interesting. Okay. Well, there we go. So that was the video exploring the SCP Foundation, the Church of the Broken God. Really appreciate it. It was a fun video to watch. Appreciate you guys coming and hanging out and watching it. As always, links will be down below in the info section. If you enjoyed watching this, do consider leaving a like and a sub, as I would appreciate it. It would help me and it'll help the channel grow. As you can see also, we're doing this live for my YouTube members. So if you want to join in and watch these live and join in with the discussions that we have as we're watching these videos, etc., feel free to click the join button down below. Take a look at the membership benefits and see if any of those would have any interest for you. But regardless, I appreciate you taking the time to watch these videos. and come hang out. It means a lot. Love you guys. Hope you're having a wonderful day, and I'll catch you guys on the next